viewers, how are you all? Welcome to SCube TV. So today we have a live show, live discussion with Mr. Steven Landsberg from USA. Myself, Bhavna, we'll be having a great interview show today. He received his BA degree in Humanities and Philosophy from Wesleyan University and Music at the California University of the Arts in 1972. He spent more than 30 years studying and researching the classical music of India. He is specialized in sitar and surbahar under the guidance of the renowned Ustad Mustaq Ali Khan. He is presently the only surbahar player in the world today who knows the technique and vocabulary of using three plectrums based on the Veena tradition, and the only surbahar with the use of these, playing the pakhavaj bowls on the surbahar with the use of this mizrabs. He had the opportunity to play in many prestigious music concerts in Calcutta, New Delhi, Varanasi, and many other countries. He currently resides in New York City and he takes online classes for students in sitar and surbahar. We all know that Westerners do have a thing for Indian classical music, and today we will know his journey and his memories with our Indian music. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you. Nice to see you.
Yeah. So, how are you today?
It's quite okay. Warm day here in New York City. Still more or less in lockdown, but moving ahead.
Great. So how did it all start? Like your music journey into Indian music, though you have learned music from California, university. So.
No, it started long before I went to California Institute of the Arts. I was actually enrolled at Wesleyan University in the 1960s, and they had a music program there. And I began studying a little bit about Indian music there, and then I had an opportunity to go to India in 1967. And when I got there, I enrolled in the Benares Hindu University and began some musical training there. And by very good fortune, I was able to meet some good musicians there who ultimately introduced me to my guru, Ustad Mustaq Ali Khan. And that's when I really began to learn.
Okay. So, there are numerous instruments if you see in Indian classical music. So, how did you get fascinated only to sitar or surbahar? How did it all happen?
I actually was initially very interested in Drupad tradition. And I had listened to some music by Drupad vocalists. And somehow I made a connection to that very deeply. And it was my interest to learn something like that. However, when I got to Varanasi, it wasn't so clear how I was going to proceed in that way. And I started learning sitar. And eventually I came to know Mustaq Ali Khan, and his training had been in surbahar and sitar both. And he was very much influenced by the Drupad tradition in his playing of both sitar and surbahar.
Okay.
So it was just good fortune that I was able to meet a teacher who could point out the ways that were aligned with my own interest.
Okay, that's really great. So can you tell us more about this Drupad style for our viewers?
So, on surbahar, sometimes surbahar they consider it to be like a big or bass sitar. But if this is really a mistake, surbahar has its own particular baj or style of playing, and we can define that baj as being something related that is connected to how the right hand and left hand are applied. And so sitar has its own way, and it has its own language, particular language, and surbahar has its own particular language, which is based on the Veena Ang, or Veena style of playing. And so this is, once one is familiar with this, then one clearly sees how different these two styles of playing actually are.
Okay, so tell us more about your memories and your experience with Ustad Mustaq Ali Khan ji.
Mustaq Ali Khan was a very traditional Indian musician, very highly respected amongst all his contemporaries, and very well admired as somebody who was uncompromising in maintaining tradition. He was quite popular as a musician during the 1920s, 1930s, and 1940s. He was born 1911, I think it was, and he was at a quite young age. He left Varanasi and went to Calcutta. I think he was maybe only 15, and he had the good fortune to meet some important people who helped him get started there. And it wasn't long afterwards that he was like playing on the. He was a popular radio artist and giving a lot of performances, and had a lot of students. But this continued on through the 1930s and 1940s. But later on, the music started changing, and he was rather uncompromising in his way of playing and his and maintaining certain traditions. He felt very strongly about the importance of maintaining the purity of melodic form that was really a hallmark of his playing. And later on, other styles became also very influential, very popular, and his name kind of receded slightly into the background, although he was always well known, well respected, and a kind of musician's musician, you could say. And he traveled throughout India, played in New Delhi and Mumbai, Varanasi and Calcutta and South India, many All India radio programs. And hello?
Yes.
We were disconnected there for a moment.
Yes. So yeah. So he did a lot of All India radio programs.
Sorry, what? You need to mute something.
Yes. Yes, so we were talking about Mustaq Ali Khan ji.
Yes, and I'm saying that he was, he believed very strongly in maintaining the purity of his tradition, Jaipur Senya.
Yes.
And Mustaq Ali Khan was really the seventh, you could say the seventh descendant in the line, in the heritage of the Senya Gharana, starting with Masit Senji. This Baj started in the latter part of the, let's say, 18th century, And from Masit Senji, it went to his son, that was Bahadur Senji, and then from there to Rahim Senji. And from Rahim Senji, it went to Amrit Senji. And from Amrit Senji, the bloodline was a little lost there, and it went to a disciple of his, Barkatullah Khan. And Barkatullah Khan passed this tradition on to Mustaq Ali Khan's father.
Oh, Ashik Ali Khan ji.
Mustaq Ali Khan's father, his name was Ashik Ali Khan.
Yes.
And he taught his son, Mustaq Ali Khan. And that is how the tradition passed from one generation to another. And then Mustaq Ali Khan taught many students. His primary students were Nirmal Guha Thakurta, Nitai Bose, Debu Chaudhry, and a few others. And I was his only, for some reason or another, still unbeknownst to me, he gave me the Sirbahar.
Okay, so like you went and asked him, or he thought you will be able to, take over this, or how was it?
I think this happened because when I first visited him in Calcutta, I was rather young, and I did something that was a little unconventional, that I don't think Indians would dare to do, and that is, going to someone's house and then asking them to try one of their instruments. And I asked him if I could try to play on his instrument, his Sirbahar. That was a little outrageous at the time. And I did that, and it's not something that I would do, that I would have done 2 or 3 years later. But at that time, I wasn't really a student, and I just took the chance and did that. And he told me later on, when I went back to visit him several years later, that he said he would teach me sitar. But he did say that, no, I won't teach you Sirbahar, because you need to learn sitar properly first. So I learned sitar for many years with him. And then in 1980, I think it was 1985 or 86, then he said, okay, now you come and I'll teach you Sirbahar. And then from that time until he passed away in 1989, he taught me.
Okay. So after that, I think you were with Fahmuddin Dagarji, right? Like you have learned under him
After that, before my teacher passed away, he told me, he said, after I pass away, then you should go and learn from Fahmuddin Dagar. And I did that. I went to New Delhi and I met Fahmuddin Dagar, who I had already known, and I told him what Mustaq Ali Khan had said, and he said that's a very, very important. So because he said that, I'm going to try to help you out. And so we went from there.
Okay. So I think you came to India when you were 19. Is it right?
When?
19 years old when you were 19.
Yeah, when I first arrived in India, I was 19. Yeah, it was in 1967.
Okay, so I think it's almost like 40 years now, your association with India. Almost 30 to 40 years, I can say that.
No, it's more than that, actually, but okay, we could say something like that anyhow. Yeah.
So what's it been like associating with India, traveling, and tell us your experiences here.
So I first, when I first got to India, the first place I landed in was in Varanasi, and this was a pretty big shock. And I entered into the Banaras Hindu University and was living there for a couple of months. And then shortly thereafter, I moved outside and into a place called, which actually became kind of famous later on. It was called SCube. And this is a place that many tourists go and visit there. It's right on the river. And I was fortunate to find a house that was right on the banks of the Ganga. And in those days, it was quite nice. We could bathe very easily every day in the river, and and then practice and get introduced to the very, what should I say? It's a very chaotic kind of chaotic environment, Varanasi, but it has its own kind of power and potentiality, and it was quite an incredible experience living there for a number of years.
Okay, so if we today, if I ask you if it was not sitar or surbahar, so what you would have done, or what you would have been doing by now?
This is really impossible to say. I can't even imagine what my life would have been without having immersed myself in Indian music. Now I stayed in India until 1977, more or less, and then I came back to the United States, and I started working as in agriculture. I was raising avocado trees and other kinds of fruits, and I did this for quite some time. In the meantime, I was regularly going back to India every year or so, and I was learning. And in the late 1980s and 90s, I was actually playing quite a lot there during the wintertime. And then in the year 2000, I went back there to live, and I did do a few more programs. I remember one in Mumbai at the National Center of Performing Arts, and then another one in Calcutta. But I ended up living in Himachal Pradesh, and I continued practicing there, but I was more or less staying rather apart from the music scene there. And then I had the fortune to go in Kathmandu in 2002. Excuse me. And I lived there for 4 years. And I was teaching at the Kathmandu University in their Bhaktapur campus, and to a number of sitar students. And I was also had many opportunities to play there. And then after that, I totally shifted from my concentration in Asia, and I moved to South America for about 7 or 8 years, and then now I'm staying in New York City. But all the time I've been moving these instruments around and continuing my practice.
That is really great. Yeah. So, like you said, you've been in different places and performed also. So, which was your best concert, or best thing which is memorable to you? Can you share with us?
There have been a number of places. One time I had the opportunity to play in Varanasi on I think it was in 1991, with a good college player there, Tun Maharaj, his name was. And this was a concert given, it was actually at Asigat. They set up a kind of tent there, and they invited a number of people from around India to play, and I was fortunate I got a chance to play there. Another chance I got was to go to Bangladesh, I got invited there and stayed with one gentleman there who was very interested in Indian music and also a player. And he arranged some programs for me to do there. It was quite interesting and also very enjoyable time. And then in New Delhi, I got a number of opportunities, and I played with his name now. Now I played with several Pakawaj players there, and it was a very enjoyable time, very enjoyable. But since that time, for the last I don't know, maybe 18 or 20 years, I have not been so involved with Indian music in India. The only reason I've been continue to go back to Calcutta regularly has been to meet with sitar maker and to work on the instrument. You see, very much people don't know this, but the instrument maker is really a very important aspect of a artist's life, because he is going to make the sound that particular artist wants or needs. And all the style that I learned in was very much connected to the preparation of the instrument.
Okay.
And that was done by Murari Adhikari from Kanhailal and Brother.
Okay.
And
So
he was a very, very, very significant instrument maker throughout the most of the 20th century. He and his father and his cousin brother. So his father, Nityananda, he introduced many things into the sitar that actually turned what was a kind of limited instrument, we could say, into an instrument that had a lot more versatility and could accommodate the needs of the 20th century musicians. Prior to that, the instrument was limited to a certain kind of baj, and only perhaps it was mostly it was used for playing compositions. And then Nityananda introduced some aspects into the instrument that made it possible to play portions of, like, lap portions from that came from Veena and Surbahar. He made it possible for the sitar to handle all of those kinds of things. And many people don't know this, but a lot of the things that we have on the modern day sitar were more or less introduced by Nityananda. So he is very prominent in the development of the instrument.
That's really nice. So you're also a great part in, I mean, making the Surbahar right now, I think.
I'm sorry?
Yeah. So after that, I mean, that's a great thing you have told all of us, I mean, all our viewers, because we really didn't know that, there are a family which are, actually part of making these instruments, and they're so important for a...
Yeah, his name has been unfortunately very forgotten, but he played a huge role in the development of the sitar, Veena. Nityananda didn't make that many Veenas, but Murari Adhikari, his son, made many Veenas, many Rudra Veenas. And if it hadn't been for him, most of the Veena playing that we know about during the 20th and now contemporary times, it would have been impossible.
Okay.
So and also for Surbahar as well. There are other Surbahar makers today, but they do not follow the tradition of that we have, and this let's say this style or this Drupad Ung on Surbahar, I can't say 100%, but it is my opinion that it would be very difficult to manage that on the modern day Surbahar.
Yeah. So yeah, I think as you said, I mean,
I'm sure there's a lot of people who would, that would not agree with some of the things I'm saying, but that's fine. I've researched a bit about the history of the Kanalal family and discovered what it is they did and how the instruments they made, for whom they made them, and their contribution is significant. And it's unfortunate, but their names have practically been forgotten.
Yeah, I know. I mean, there are so many people and so many traditions that are being forgotten, and that is the reason, our show, we want to, through this medium, we would like all of the new generation to know, what is a sitar, or, the different players in the world. So that is the aim of our show. So coming to the next part, the CDs, that you have released. Can you talk about that?
Well, I made the first one in the early 1990s, I think, and with Phyllis Connie Toady, in which I played some alap, and I played the elements of Tarparan there, and that was concentrated mostly on Surbahar. And then the second CD that I made was Night and Beyond. That was both some Surbahar and but more playing sitar with Abhiman Kosel on tabla. And yeah, that was recording was a interesting experience for me. It's a whole nother aspect of music that needs its own kind of training.
No. Okay.
I have not done much of that in the last years at all.
Okay. So we also, I mean, when we think about sitar and surbahar, we also hear about gharanas. So what are these gharanas? I mean, have you got any idea about it?
Gharanas is all the musicians have a similar repertoire in the fact that they're all playing the same or singing the same ragas, but their style of elaboration and their concept of that raga, it varies from tradition to tradition.
Okay.
And Jaipur Sanyas, the tradition in which I was trained in, that Mustaq Ali Khan made rather famous, it was very much concerned with maintaining purity of the raga. And what that means, you need to understand that raga has its own particular vocabulary and its own usage of the notes that are in that particular melodic form. So there's so many ragas, and each have its own particular application of the swara of the notes. And where those notes are placed and the emphasis that's placed upon them and the relationship between those notes is what is going to produce this particular melodic form.
Oh, okay.
So this is very important. If one just considers a raga to be just uh, just a certain group of notes ascending and descending, it's an idea of raga, but it's very minimal.
Okay. So I mean, we have talked so much about Surbahar. Can we know something about you, like your family, about?
My family. My family is from. My wife is from Venezuela, and we have a daughter and a son, and we live in New York, and kind of busy with many things. My daughter studies industrial design in the university, and we're managing with the situation.
Yeah, yeah. I know we all are. I mean, getting accustomed to the new normal, I think. Yeah. So, what are your hobbies? I mean,
my, my,
I mean,
my hobbies are sitar and surbahar. These are my hobbies.
hobbies and life, I think. I mean,
Yes. Yeah, I think it's important to integrate your hobbies into your life.
yeah, that is really nice. So, viewers, I know you're all waiting to, to listen to Sir. And, Sir, please, we all are waiting to listen to your Surbahar right now.
Okay. I try to show you something.
So viewers, to learn from Sir, you can always contact SCube TV, where our email and other site details are given. We will surely make you contact to him and hope this tradition moves on forward from all new generation in future. And also, want to try this always practice and listen, enjoy.
Can you hear okay? Okay. Well, thank you very much for having this program, and I'm glad I have this opportunity to say something about this particular tradition and my involvement in Indian music, and to play just a little bit for you. I can't hear you.
Yes, can you hear me now? Yeah. So viewers, they say that when words fail, music always touches our soul. And today with Sir's music, I think it all touched our soul. So Sir, would you like to say a few words?
Well, just I'm happy to have the opportunity to speak with your viewers and explain something about this particular tradition. I know that times have changed, and the world has changed a lot. India's changed significantly since the first times I've gone there, and that there's many styles of playing that have become popular, also important. The players nowadays are extraordinarily skillful, and have a lot of talent. I learned in a very different way, and that's fine. I appreciate all kinds of playing, and I also admire the technical and skillfulness of the current players today. They're very talented, and they've practiced very hard, and they demonstrate quite well on stage. They have remarkable how should we say, just skillfulness in handling the instrument.
Okay. So thank you, sir, for accepting our invitation and telling us so much about instrument when many people don't even have an idea. So we wish you all the best and hope after you there are many people who will be playing this and the tradition goes on.
Okay, thank you very much.
Namaste. Thank you. So viewers, thank you for watching SCube TV. Keep watching this show to meet more renowned musicians and artists like Sir. And for more updates, keep watching SCube TV. Thank you.